Folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. You can always contact the show 24/7, 706-889-9700. You can send me an email, chief@fetyournews.com, and there's the ways to follow us on social media. Now, why did I burn 2 hours on Crimea, Ukraine, Donald Trump? The Helsinki summit, was that it when Trump went and met with Putin? I'll tell you why. Because I not only am in fear of what tomorrow brings on the southern border. I am. I'm an America first. But there is a side of me that I'm not a globalist. God knows I'm not a globalist. But there's a side of me that puts me in fear, that I'm in fear of who's holding the cards, who has their finger on the button, whether they like it or not, who is making the decisions worldwide when it comes to some of the things going on. There is going to always be a need for America to play a role in the world and not just bury our heads in the sand. And when I go to the Hill, and the Hill's top story is Obama World Love Fest for O'Rourke is growing. And they're trying to create another candidate. We have a president. We have gotten so confused. Why did I go down this road today? Because I know what happened at Helsinki. Well, you were not there. Well, I think it's funny. All these media groups know what the hell's happening in Mueller's investigation, and they're not there. They know the paperwork, and they're not there. And sources tell them, and they're not there. But if I say one damn thing, I get a text. Well, you're not there, okay? That being said, I'm in fear. We need a president. We got kids that don't even know what a president is. Their impression of a president, it's very sad. And I know you don't like it out there, Republicans, when I throw George W., but we've gone from Bill Clinton to George W. to Barack Obama. And our children, okay, don't know really what a president is. I mean, they've heard stories of Ronald Reagan. You and I lived with Ronald Reagan through the Ronald Reagan years. They've heard those stories. They've read books, maybe, hopefully. You and I remember that. That's why we like Trump. He's a little off here and he's a little off there. And sure, he could shut up and not say some things, but he's the Donald, right? But when I read that we are working now to create Obama World Love Fest, we're millions of dollars in this industry, this political industry, were millions and millions of dollars spent in Texas, maybe knowing they couldn't win Texas, but they were creating a candidate. Remember a representative at one time that made it to Senate, that one time all of a sudden became a world leader, that at one time had to figure out what to do when Russia went into Crimea? So when I see Beto O'Rourke and the love fest for this guy, okay, and the possible creation of a presidential candidate, and then I see Ukraine, and I go through the list of what's happened. Now here is President Trump. I'm going to play this because I can't do it through the video. It won't play. And I want to play this right here with President Trump discussing Crimea. And this is June 15th, okay? June 15th of this past year.
This summer. It's possible that we'll meet, yeah. I thought, this all started because one of you asked, should Putin be in the G7? I said, no, he should be in the G8. A few years ago, Putin was in what was called the G8. I think it's better to have Russia in than to have Russia out. Because just like North Korea, just like somebody else, it's much better if we get along with them than if we don't.
It's possible.
Just so you understand. No. President Obama lost Crimea, just so you understand. This was long before I got there. I want to make it so the fake news prints it properly. President Obama lost Crimea. So it's his fault. Wait. Yeah, it's his fault. Yeah, it's his fault. Yeah, it's his fault. President, just so you understand, because Putin didn't respect President Obama. President Obama lost Crimea because President Putin didn't respect President Obama, didn't respect our country, and didn't respect Ukraine. But President Obama, not Trump, when it's my fault, I'll tell you, but President Obama gave away that. Now, President Obama, by not going across the red line in the sand that he drew, I went across it with the 59 missile hits. But President Obama, when he didn't go across the red line, what he gave away, nobody even knows. But just to put it one more time, President Obama gave away Crimea. That should have never happened.
Okay, President Obama gave away Crimea. Let's just get the facts of it, okay? They did not annexation into. They did not. He gave it away, okay? There was the G8. So Obama and his unified international front, they'll show Putin they kicked him out. Made it the G7, right? Just check me out. Check me out. See if Russia did not get kicked out of the G8, right? Oh, we'll show him. They seem to be really suffering over there. Russia seems to be really suffering with all these sanctions and getting kicked out of the G8. Trump said he wants Russia back in the G8. Now, you may get upset with this, but my opinion is he's going to offer Putin a deal to get back in the G8. That's my opinion. I listen to Trump. And I think he's got to solve it, folks. Now, the media, I'm just setting this up for days in advance. The media will come in and they will blow this up that Trump is rewarding. The headlines will be, Trump is rewarding Putin for bad behavior. Okay? But Trump knows, just like North Korea, okay, he doesn't want to start a war. Trump doesn't want to be in Afghanistan 17 years. He does not want to send your kids to a world war. He does not want to start a war in North Korea. He's not interested in it at all. He's more interested in jobs here in America for you, the American people, and the sovereignty of our border in America first. He truly loves this country. That's what they hate about him. He truly loves this country. I'm telling you, I'm setting it up. Trump soft pedals Russia wants to reward their bad behavior in Ukraine by allowing him back in to the G8. Watch the deal that's going to go down. Trump knows what he's doing, and my opinion is he's going to make a very strong deal with Putin, not cave, but he knows he has to do something to solve this hotbed, because let me tell you something, okay? Over in Gay Paris, let me tell you something. America, let me tell you something about your children. They're going to get sent to war. That's right. And you don't want to send them to war because you don't want the backup of Germany and the backup of Paris. And you don't want old Gay Paris saying to their army, we must go defend our European allies. And their soldiers saying, why? Do they not believe in climate change? Are they climate change deniers? No, they've invaded Ukraine. No, we're only going to go fight if they're climate change deniers. Trust me, we cannot accept the wussification of Eastern Europe to fight with us right now. I'm serious as can be. So Trump's got to go do something. Because if you think you're going to rely on the French and you're going to rely on the UK, they can't even make a deal on Brexit over there and get straight. The French, they're burning things down because they're more interested in the climate. All right. I'm just telling you, I'm setting it up. I got that. I'm out in front of it. I just told you what really smokes me is when I go to the headlines, okay? Majority rules Hyde Smith in Mississippi wins in final midterm Senate election. So let's roll through the close of the show. We're going to do picture. It's show and tell time. So let's go. Trump's number one, President Trump on rejecting climate report. They have gone nuts over this. Nuts. One of the problems that a lot of people like myself, we have very high levels of intelligence. We do. We have high levels of intelligence. This is one of the problems we got. All right, you just can't sell us on some of this stuff. Why? We're not indoctrinated to the point we'll accept. So here's one of the problems a lot of people like myself have, you know, in Alabama, Mississippi, West Virginia, you know, the places that voted for me. We have a high level of intelligence, but we're not necessarily such believers. You look at our air and our water, and right now it's record clean. But when you look at China and you look at parts of Asia, just many other places, the air is incredibly dirty. And when we're talking about an atmosphere, oceans are very small. And it blows over and it sails away. I don't want to get into that at the current time, other than we do know environmentalist wackos have... All right, let me just tell you this quick story. Okay, real quick, true story, I promise. You'll not enjoy it. It's a sad story, but okay. When Trump says things like we can't even, you know, cut a tree out of the way or clear the forest to where we do minimize the growth of wildfires, okay, because of the United States Forestry Division, the man hits a home run, okay? Now, where I'm broadcasting from, I don't know where you're at. You can look it up. We have what's called the Rich Mountain Wilderness Area here. Now, the Rich Mountain Wilderness Area is United States Forestry. It's a United States forest, okay? Government forest up here. It's 6 miles on my right-hand side going north of where I'm broadcasting today. And about 6 years ago, we had in our area a little plane go down with, I think, four or six people in it in the Rich Mountain Wilderness area. And we were searching for these people, hopefully trying to find them. Hopefully they were alive. But in the search and rescue effort, which I went as a news reporter, and I was up there for 3 straight days. They could not go in. I watched. They could not go in. First responders could not go in to the forest without having a member of the United States Forest Forest Division with them on an ATV. They were not allowed to run over a tree. They were not allowed to cut a tree, were not allowed to move a tree, was not allowed to cut a branch. Now you got to remember, we're looking for 4 or 6 people possibly alive, hopefully. Now it didn't turn out that way. We found the plane in the wilderness and the results was not what we hoped for. But in efforts to rescue these people, we had to get somebody's permission at all time. Our local search and rescue teams were up in the woods, forest, and we had to get their permission. If we said, hey, we want to go in, they had to wait a period of time and draw a map into the plane. They found the plane through helicopter. They had to draw a map into the plane. They had to get this set up to pull the plane out of the forest, and it all had to be approved by the National Forestry Division and make sure they didn't cut, move, break any branches. I mean break branches. So when this man talks about talks about what happened in the California fires, you and I know. Okay, let's go to number 4. Manafort's lawyer said to brief Trump attorneys on what he told Mueller. Wow, Manafort, nothing but a liar. Now, let's go through the Manafort. Let me see what I have here. There you go. That's all, folks. One big thing. Axios number 9 from this morning. Signs point to Mueller acceleration. Mueller is hit the accelerator. Okay. Karzai, exchanges with Roger Stone were all speculation. Number 16. Okay. Now, we can get into this tomorrow, but Karzai, all speculation, why he said he wouldn't sign a deal with Mueller because it was just a deal to try to put him in prison. And it wasn't true, and he would not lie for Robert Mueller. And this guy's blowing up the airwaves, and the media loves it, okay? Number 17, Karzai disputes knowing of Podesta's email release. Number 18, Mueller has emails showing talks between Karzai Stone on WikiLeaks email release. Oh, they love this. Number 19, okay. Karzai and Stone correspondence on WikiLeaks. Time to let more than Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta's to be exposed as in bed with enemy if they are not ready to drop HRC, Hillary Rodham Clinton. That appears to be the game hackers are now about. Okay? It's interesting how certain people have certain emails. It's not about the content of the email. It's not about what we found out. Nothing in their investigation is about what we found out. I don't have time to go through all of that. I know General Motors, he's hot. Let's go to number 27. Trump targets Federal Reserve. My gut tells me more sometimes than anybody else's brain can. Okay, what Trump is saying, they're making fun of Trump. They actually laugh when they read this over at CNN. It's Federal Reserve Chair. Trump was told to put this guy in place. Trump was told this is the guy that had to be put in place. Trump did it. This is part of the deep state. All right, and that's why Trump is saying his gut's telling him something. His gut is knowing that they're setting him up. Okay, number 28, just to wrap up here, the Mueller witch hunt is a total disgrace. They are looking at supposedly stolen crooked Hillary emails, even though they don't want to look at the DNC server and have no interest in the emails that Hillary deleted and acid washed after getting a congressional subpoena. Okay? They are looking for all of these things that are, there's no interest in the content. So the Mueller investigation, we know what's going on there. General Motors, Trump's not happy. He defends you. More of the ways that General Motors, Trump defends you. And let me show you this right fast. I know I'm running along. I got 4 minutes here. And let's go with number 5, 2018 Senate, Mississippi. Cindy Hyde-Smith, 59%. Now, we did need a Republican to go back, but I just want to say it on record as we close. The Republican that is going back is the one that replaced Establishment Thad Cochran, okay, which I did not support. And I watched the National Chamber of Commerce support him and get rid of a great Tea Party candidate at that time that we had over Mississippi. She is part of the problem. I want to tell you ahead of time. I know Trump had to pull her across the line. Trump could not have a former Clinton agricultural secretary, Mike Espy. Trump couldn't have a Democrat in Mississippi. Just couldn't do it. Had to go. It didn't matter who the candidate was. I'm going to say this, my opinion is I noticed on the stage with Brian Kemp, Trump likes Brian Kemp. He says, Brian, he's a backslapper, all right? Trump likes Brian Kemp, our new governor-elect, okay? Trump liked so many of these candidates he stood on stage with, you could tell. Trump could care less about this woman, is my opinion. All right, you may not like it, but it had to be a Republican. All right, so number 6, there's Eddie something Jr. I forget his name. He's from Mississippi. They brought him in. Republicans keep control of Mississippi Senate seat after racially charged campaign. Okay, racially charged campaign. And I'm telling you now, the reason they said racially charged campaign is they actually said this morning, that Mississippi ran out. There just wasn't enough suburbs. How are they going to fix that? I'm your host, BKP. Mississippi, according to them, is still racist. I made quite an attempt to do foreign policy to set up what's about to happen over there with Russia and the G8 and G7 and whatever it is. And I'll be back tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. It'll be Thursday. I'll be here.